Welcome into the OBR streaming network. This is another edition of All Eyes on Cleveland. My name is Brad Ward. The man next to me, some of you may know him very, very well. Some of you may be new to him, but longtime friend of the show, the one and only Josh Keatley, former D1 running back at Valparaiso, host of Ohio State of Mind podcast. You can listen to that where all popular podcasts are found, and at youtube.com/Ohio State of Mind. What is up, Josh?
Nothing much, man. Friend. Nothing much, dude. Just trying to get the podcast going and taking care of my kid, brother. But a lot of good Browns news going on.
Yeah, congratulations on your child and Max, and we're all happy for you that their fumble. Yeah, who is that stranger? Yep, it's been a minute. So Casey Kinnaman is on vacation in Florida, and Josh is kind enough to fill in for us tonight, and glad to have him for sure. As Minicamp came to an end today. Mandatory minicamp, and there's a lot to talk about. I'm sure that a lot of you want, yes, the mini helmet factory behind Josh for sure.
Brad, I'm kind of shocked you haven't rubbed it in my face yet. The bet you won last year.
That what?
You won a bet last year.
So I know I did. Wait, which bet?
So we're 1-1. I won the Elijah Moore one, but you won the Brendan Rice bet.
It's not over yet. He's got to go. I think he's got to go all of this year without a catch or without.
I mean, if you so you got more confidence in him than I do then.
I thought he had to go no catch for. Maybe he was the whole season. I might have won that bet.
I think we did say the first two seasons, but I don't have it. He didn't. He only played like 3 games all of last year, so I don't.
Yeah.
Whew. We'll see though. We'll see. We'll keep it open. That's cool, man.
Yeah. Well, let's keep that bet open. What was the other? What bet did I lose?
The Elijah Moore one, right?
What was my bet? 1,000 yards or something?
Man, I thought it was like 1,500 yards. You were pretty stoked about him.
Oh, get out of here! I never.
You were pretty. Someone in the chat tell us. Someone in the chat tell us what the stat.
That's madness. 1,500 yards. I never.
You were pretty stoked about him. You were pretty high on Elijah Moore.
I'm always high on Elijah Moore. I think Buffalo got a steal. Yeah. So, I mean, he beat. Hey, look at this wide receiver room. You telling me they couldn't use him right now? Come on.
Hey, I got a lot of faith in what they got going on, man. There's some dudes here that I think could turn up. I thought it was a little bit of a desperate grab to go get Diontae Johnson. When they went out to sign Diontae Johnson, I was like, oh no, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, that's like the Elijah Moore replacement, right? Like
that's not ideal.
If you got 600 yards out of him, I think you'd be happy.
Yeah.
He's the last chance, for him. No guaranteed money. He has no choice but to play well, or that's about it for him. He's 3 different teams last year. So Casey Kinnaman weighing in. Should have traded for Brendan Rice. What's up, Case? Hope you're enjoying vacation, brother. Thanks for stopping in to say what's up on your own show. How kind of you. We got Josh in to fill in for you tonight. Maybe you can clarify, Casey. You would know the Brendan Rice bet. Was it this year, or I think it had to be. I think it was 2 years. Pretty sure. Enjoying the upgrade. Casey, let me know in the chat if the Brendan Rice bet was this. I think it was 2-year bet. That he wouldn't. What was the bet? That he wouldn't catch a pass? Was that what it was?
Oh yeah. You were pretty confident that he was gonna suck forever.
Well, yeah. I mean, I still am. He is garbage.
I mean, so far you're right because he only played in 3 games. I think it was all on special teams too. So far you're right. That is for sure.
Yeah, I don't think he's ran a route yet. So
No,
we'll see.
no, I don't think he has either.
Rice would lead the league in receiving for 2 years in a row. What? Get out here! It's a 2-year bet. Yeah, that he wouldn't record a reception. All right, so we got 1 more year to go on that one. 1 down, 1 to go, and I feel good about it. I feel good.
You should feel good.
I feel good about that one. All right, let's talk Browns minicamp. So, a couple things right off the top today. Cedric Tillman, Mike Woods back out on the field after missing 2 days. Just good to see them out there, not going into this long break, which is like school's out for summer vibes, right? Like after this, they're off for until like June 21st, I want to say, or something like that. Or July 21st. So this is vacation time for everybody. So yeah, McLaughlin, your boy, he got out there. Tillman, and Browns need big things from Tillman. They do.
Yep.
And we've talked about, we got that small sample size of him kind of showing what he could do with Jameis, and then the concussion, had pushed him out for the rest of the season. You said you're not as low on this wide receiver room, Josh, as I am. It's not that I'm low on it. It's just there's no depth. Here's where I'm at, right? Jerry Jeudy, love it. Great signing. I think he balled out last year, 1,200 yards. I think he's going to do the same, right?
Sure.
And with like 4 different quarterbacks, two of them, the 2 worst in the league in DTR and Deshaun Watson, throwing him the football, and he still put up those numbers, right? So, Jeudy is a steal. Tillman showed it and flashed it. Thrash, we got to find out what he is. But beyond that, like, can Diontae Johnson be something? Maybe. I think I know what Mike Woods is, and I'm not that excited about it. Sorry, Case. David Bell. We both like David Bell coming out, but is he really like, does he get your heart thumping about, depth in this room? I don't know.
No, but I haven't given up on David Bell. I like Michael Woods, like he's dealt with some injuries and stuff like that, but David Bell, I don't know. I still haven't given up on him. Maybe that's just my Big Ten bias coming out, but I still think he catches a nasty. He's got reliable hands. He just doesn't get open. That's his issue. So maybe I think Jerry Jeudy is one of the most physically gifted receivers in the NFL. I really truly do. I don't think that's being biased at all. I mean, he was drafted in the first round for a reason, right? And if Cedric Tillman takes another step forward, which I think he will, that's another guy that we were both super high on as far as the NFL draft goes. And that's kind of playing out the way it is too, because Jalen Hyatt doesn't look so hot. He looks like he was the number 1A of that Tennessee team that was super high powered. I think that maybe there's some room for a guy like David Bell to improve. They're trying. They're lifting up rocks and stuff. I mean, I saw that they signed Jalen Gill. I'm sorry, there was a comment there.
No, it was just is DTR the worst quarterback ever to wear orange and brown? That's a bold statement, Kramer.
It might be Spurgeon win.
Either way, I was vindicated in my rant about DTR when it happened. So So DeAndre Carter had one good year as a wide receiver for the Chargers. I don't expect much from him. He's a kick return guy, which, me and Casey have ranted about over and over, that you shouldn't need a kick return guy in the NFL anymore. You should find one on your 53.
Yeah, I agree.
Jalen Gill, I don't know anything about him. 38. Luke Floria, Keyshawn Johnson.
Jalen Gill is slightly interesting. I don't think he's very good. But that's a former. It's a Westerville South kid, former 4-star, 5-star recruit. He played running back in high school. They moved him to wide receiver. He was kind of recruited in that sweet spot between Urban Meyer and Ryan Day, where, Urban liked those guys like Percy. Jalen Gill was supposed to be Percy Harvin. That's what he was supposed to be. Ryan Day took over. Ryan Day doesn't have that kind of style. So Jalen Gill transferred to Boston College, didn't do much there. Transferred to Fresno State, where he was much more productive, but I still wouldn't call him, great. And then he spent some time in the UFL this past year, and now he's with the Browns. I mean, it's kind of interesting. He's a hometown kid who has a lot of athletic ability. It was never athletic. It was never like a lack of ability. He's not super big, but he's very quick, very fast. Maybe he's a late bloomer. That might be something interesting there. I see somebody in the chat mention Harold Fannin. I think Harold Fannin, that's one of my favorite picks to draft. I think he's an absolute steal. I was complaining about him still being on the board. I couldn't understand why. I mean, that guy was absolutely phenomenal at Bowling. He was the Bowling Green offense, dude, and they still couldn't stop him. And his ability after the catch was, it was pretty reminiscent of what you saw with David Njoku at Miami, and that was a first-round pick. So I think that there's some upside there too that maybe no one's talking about.
Yeah, we're all Fannin fans. We loved that pick, and then Surge is a Jamari Thrash truther, which I haven't given up on Thrash.
Me neither.
He seems to be having a good camp. I was discouraged at the end of last year, which everyone was about everything, but nonetheless, he did play some significant snaps down the stretch. Now his quarterback were terrible down the stretch, but so it's a hard evaluation there. Fannin should be, if they can't get the wide receivers they need, and probably even before then, Fannin is the first option. It probably goes like Judy and Njoku, right? Tillman and Fannin are your best pass catching options in this offense, probably.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Fannin was somebody that everybody was trying to snag on the waiver wire in fantasy football, kind of like they were Isaiah Likely last year. Like he's really good, man. I may be biased because he plays in Ohio, but he was fantastic. He was a guy too that was always consistent in what he did. You like those guys in college. He wasn't a late riser or a late faller or whatever you want to say. He was a guy that was pretty dominant at Bowling Green for multiple years. I think that's really impressive.
Yeah, and against the top tier competition that he did face, he still dominated.
Yeah.
So
and he's all they had. He's all they had.
Yeah,
but he knew where the ball was going.
Yep. All right. Jeff Tucker asking Casey to bring him back a hula girl. Don't do it, Casey. That's illegal. What you're doing is illegal. All right. Well, you're right, DeAndre. We do need to get tougher, which brings me to, I think their whole thing this year is leaning back into the identity of being a run first tough team. Mike Bloomgren, the new offensive line coach. You know about Mike Bloomgren a little bit there? Stanford guy back in the day when he was the Stanford offensive coordinator back when they were running the ball all over everybody.
You guys talk about him. He was there with Owen Marusik and
David Shaw,
Bryce
right?
Love, yeah.
That's
the one you were right?
Yeah, and he doesn't play around, right? Like Casey. I was so nice to see him talk today, and it's like he's kind of a dick, and I was like, yes, puffy hair last year, too nice a guy. Your offensive line coach should be kind of a dick, don't you think? He should be.
I think when you're looking for a culture change, you're looking for toughness, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would agree with that.
Especially when they were used to, what's his name in Tennessee before?
Callahan.
Yeah. because he was a hard ass himself. So yeah, Bloomgren seems like he doesn't play. So yeah, absolutely. All right, Rodney's in the house. Great week, fellas, for Shedeur. Would you agree? QB1, week 1 starter. Uh, Listen, we're gonna get to that, and we'll talk about it. But week 1 starter is a stretch. I'll just say that, Rodney. I just don't think. I don't know. We're
I
gonna
don't
talk. We're gonna talk about it. I don't know if either rookie can start
know
week 1.
because when the rookie goes in, that unless they're head and shoulders above the rest, that kind of shows that's kind of the white flag, right?
Yeah,
Right,
like
a little bit.
yeah. So we'll go ahead and I did want to bring this up because Josh, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the madness that's out there, but like Tony Grossi has been keeping stats at OTAs, like passing stats. He's combining 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 statistics and posting them like they're significant, right? Like it matters, which is absurd.
Yes,
It's absurd. It's June. And I love this today from Brown's running back coach, Deuce Staley, on drawing conclusions from minicamp. And you guys that are into the stats and all that stuff, this is what you should listen to right here. Deuce nails it right here. We are out here in pajamas right now. Pajamas? How do you say it?
I like pajamas. That's how I say it.
Yeah. We're out here in pajamas right now. When we're out here in armor, I'll let you know.
He's right. He's right. He's right.
And the quote that I would pair with that is from Stefanski, because he keeps getting asked over and over because of the idiotic. I agree, Pat Shea. The coaching staff does seem sharper this year and on top of things, but it looks like they just keep getting blitzed with the questions about the reps, this rep, that rep, who's getting reps here, because technically I think, and I'm going to play a clip later, but pretty sure that Shedeur hasn't gotten one team rep against the first team defense yet, which is kind of strange considering Gabriel has. But either way, we'll talk about it. But Stefanski, once again, don't look in. This is his quote, and part of this is his quote, but I'm paraphrasing the rest of it here a little bit. Don't look into who is out there and when they're out there. We're installing the offense and we're teaching. He said we're in installation and teaching phase. So the hyper obsession with who's getting what reps with what guys and when seems silly, right? Like, because they're teaching, right? They're installing the offense. They're teaching the offense. When we come back for training camp and things look exactly the same, then maybe we'll have a more serious conversation about that. But yeah, I mean, do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I saw someone in the chat saying that the reps have to mean something. The reps can't count for nothing, and I think that that's true too. But it's such a small portion. These coaches aren't idiots. They know what's going on. It's no different at the college level too, right? You know what I mean? Like the Texas kind of dealt with something similar with Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning, where you got to kind of, people know that everybody's watching Shedeur and trying to figure out what's going on. As soon as you let that guy rip it with the first team and he does well, it's game over. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they got to kind of kind of easing everything in and allowing everything to be handled the way that they feel like it should be mentally. Kevin Stefanski's a smart guy. He's a really smart guy. I mean, we
Yes.
can argue about him being a good enough coach to get him to the top of the mountain. That's a fair argument, but no one's going to call him an idiot, right? And he's very aware of what people are watching and what they're doing. And I don't have an issue with people monitoring the rotation and what's happening, but it's such a small, minuscule percentage of. I mean, I'm not doing it, right?
Yeah.
That's how little meaningless it is to me.
I mean, I keep track of, like, in the back of my. You're right, Kramer. You're right. It's a good point. It can't mean nothing, right? But I'm just saying, like, it's not the end all be all. Because to your point, I think that's the best point I've heard made on this, Josh. Like, and Chantel's asking, then why Gabriel get first team reps? Well, because I think Josh made a really good point. If you go, and first of all, we don't know if Shedeur, he may have gotten plenty of first team reps when the media wasn't there.
Good point.
We only know that he hasn't gotten them when the media was around. So when the media wasn't there, he may have gotten first team reps. So, and I think that, to your point, if they, he looks great out there, so by all accounts. That everybody you talk to that's been there says he looks fantastic so far, and his attitude has been on point. He said all the right things. He stays late after practice. He's the first one in. He's doing all the right things. So is Gabriel, as far as being there early, staying late, knowing the playbook, all that stuff. In his interviews, they both sound intelligent, smart. They're well spoken. To a point, I didn't know what to expect from Shedeur, but he's mature. He got asked about his dad. He redirected it to, I'm not worried about that. I'm focused on the playbook now. They asked him if he was worried about reps. He said he didn't care about the reps. He'll just be ready when he gets the opportunity, and he's just happy to be here. I mean, he seemed humble, and he comes across, he said all the right things. He plays the game well. If that's not really how he feels, he's doing it in the right way, So I have no complaints. He's a great attitude. It seems like everybody gravitates towards him. He does kind of have that moxie, right? That guys kind of hang around him and they want to be around him because he's fun loving and stuff. And that's a good thing for a quarterback to have. So with all that, though, to your point that you said, he's tearing it up right now, is by all accounts against the 2s, 3s on field 2. When he gets his chance on field 1, he's playing well there. If they throw him in against the 1s, Chantel, and he starts lighting them up, well, now they got a serious problem on their hands. If that happens in training camp, great. He can go win the job. But, if he does it right now, it just causes more noise around this quarterback competition, which already has way too much noise around it. I mean, it's like the second story on SportsCenter every day. It's absurd.
The Browns have not had a quarterback with this kind of off-field presence since Johnny Manziel, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they have to play this close to their vest. He's saying and doing all the right things, but he's been a Brown for a month, right? There are years of history where he's kind of been a selfish dude, and he's great. I love him. I think he's gonna. When the Giants drafted Jackson Dart, I was laughing because when I looked over the draft, and so I think that Shedeur Sanders is the second best quarterback in the class. I think he is a dude. That dude throws a pretty ball, but he's only played for his daddy. Okay. and he has a reputation for not being the best teammate. He does. He's got a reputation. He did not handle any of his interviews well. So I don't think that just because he's been cool in front of the mic for 3 weeks that you just hand him over the keys. And that's what's going to happen because everybody's fault. Everybody wants him to play. Everybody just wants him to play. So as soon as he completes one pass against the first team and smiles and the camera, it's game over. So they got to be careful. And you don't want to destroy Dylan Gabriel's confidence either. You know what I mean? Like I would give Dylan Gabriel way more snaps than Shedeur because no one likes Dylan Gabriel. No one
No.
likes Dylan Gabriel. Even Browns fans are like, why did they draft him? Why did they draft him? That dude has got to be so emotionally intelligent to be able to handle this kind of crap, dude. I mean, to be drafted ahead of someone and no one give a shit about you, you know what I mean? So I think that Stefanski's got to be careful with all that. And I think he's smart enough to know that.
Yeah, he does. He has to be careful about how everything looks. And to the point that you guys are making, like, and Chantel wants, I'll get to that, but shout out to Pat Shea. Was it Pat Shea? Thank you for gifting 20 subs. Amazing, dude. You are a legend and a gentleman and a scholar. And we appreciate you for that. That's amazing. So thank you so much for doing that. If I could ever get my sound effects on point. All right. So this report that you're real quick, Chantel. This, I don't know who reported this. I'll grab it here. I saw it and I lost it.
I do want to defend myself for Buck here in the chat that was asking, how do we know Shedeur is a selfish dude? So the NIL thing, I'll make this story real quick. There were a lot of NIL.
Selfish. You said he is a selfish dude?
He has a reputation. Again, I want to be very clear. I love Shedeur. I wanted the Browns to draft. I would have been cool if the Browns drafted him in the first round. Full transparency. Love Shedeur.
Because he hasn't shown that at all here.
I understand that. But he does have that reputation in college.
Yeah.
There is a circle. If you speak to people that work in the NIL realm and have worked with Colorado, he has a reputation for putting himself ahead of his team. There are certain companies that have reached out that wanted to make a whole team deal, and they were going to pay him more than the rest of the team, but they weren't going to pay. I don't really know how to explain it without throwing the company under the bus. But basically, in order for the walk-ons and the bottom of the barrel roster to get paid, Shedeur had to sign off. And a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. signed off immediately. Okay, yeah. Shedeur did not. Shedeur was like, no, we're not doing this. And I know people that are close to the program that have said there are other things like that he's done in Colorado.
But that may be coming from his dad too.
That's true. That's entirely true. Like I said, I love Shedeur. I don't know him as a human being. All I know is the rumors and stuff. But, we can assume since he fell to the 5th round, some of the stuff's probably true.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think he got bad advice around the process.
100%.
Yeah. But I don't completely blame him because he's come in here and all I can judge him on is what he's done since he's gotten here. Chantel, I would just say that according to whatever report that Pickett is the starter, DG is the backup, then Joe, then Shedeur, there is no depth chart. So I don't know what report that is. You can tell if it's Tony Grossi or Mary Kay. I don't care because that's not a real report. That's just speculation. And at this point, we shouldn't be speculating about it. How is it fair? One rookie getting first team reps and the other one not. That's all I'm saying. First of all, the NFL is not really about being fair. And B, I get your point, but once again, we don't know that he hasn't gotten equal reps. We just know that when the cameras are there, they haven't given him the first team reps, which I think may be a strategic move. So,
I mean, I hate to keep bringing it back to college, but Texas last year is a pretty good example of how a team worked its way through quarterback controversy that was made up in the media and not necessarily in the locker room, right? Everybody in the world wanted Arch Manning to start, but Steve Sarkisian wanted Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers was always the guy, but they had to navigate that on the practice field in front of the cameras.
Mary Kay Cabot does not know the depth chart, Chantel. I know she's good at what she does, and she just got an award and everything, but she does not know the depth chart because there is no depth chart. It's June. There's no depth chart yet. I promise you, there's not. But yeah, Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that his teammates loved him and players loved him and everything. But I do trust everything that Josh is saying. He's very
Yeah,
plugged into the college world. I mean, I'm
I
sure he
can
has it on good authority there. He wouldn't just make that up. So
I can verify that that's not true.
yeah. So
Some of the guys did. Some of the guys did. The guys who's throwing the ball. I'm not saying that he was the most hated guy, but there are guys in the lot. There are guys that got there. They were like, "Man, this is not what I signed up for. This sucks."
yeah, if you're down at the end of that roster, I can imagine that would be. You got some pushback. Shedeur literally paid for the players that Prime brought from Jackson State to Colorado. Him and Hunter. This is public knowledge. Josh is lying.
Literally paid for the players that he only brought. There's only 2 guys that made it from Jackson
What
State.
do you mean? Shedeur didn't pay for the players. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
a
Travis
player
Hunter
doesn't play for other players.
Travis Hunter made his fair amount of made some cash by himself. Don't worry about that.
All right, Ian. He says Google it. That Shedeur provided for his own NIL. That would be something that I can't believe is actually true.
Well, I don't think. I mean, the Travis Hunter part's the most egregious part. Like Travis Hunter was the number 1 recruit in his recruiting class. He didn't go to Jackson State because he was a scrub. He went to Jackson State because of Dion. Travis Hunter's always been really, really, really good. Always been really since like 8th grade. Everybody's know who Travis Hunter is.
Yeah, I mean,
Shedeur doesn't need to help him.
Let's see. Paid for his own players at Colorado.
I'm sure he did some nice things. Like I said, not everybody hated him. I know a couple people that
I could see how he could rub people the wrong way. He doesn't have to be.
That's all I'm saying.
Shedeur made millions at Colorado. Earned roughly $6.5 million in 1 year through NIL deals at Colorado.
That's probably true.
Nike, Gatorade. Bought a $200K gift for his teammate, one of his teammates, after an award.
Like I said, I'm sure that I'm not saying that he was the most hated guy in the locker room, right? Johnny Manziel wasn't either, right? None of those guys are. I mean, even Ryan Leaf, I'm sure, had friends. All I'm saying is listen, he fell to the 5th round for a reason. So again, I want to reiterate, I had him as a 1st-round grade. He was my 2nd-best quarterback in the class. I did jumping jacks when the Browns drafted Shedeur. You can ask anybody that was in the room with me. But
I'm with you, man.
He fell to the 5th round for a reason, and it wasn't because of his physical ability, right? It just wasn't. Yeah. So we got to put the pieces together somewhere. We just have to, right? And that's what I'm not there. I'm not in the locker room. I know a couple people who were, and that's so I'm going to ride with the assumption that they're right. That's all I'm saying. Maybe they're wrong. I hope he's the greatest quarterback ever to play the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just see how much he's made. There's nothing about him. I've never heard of in my life a player paying his own NIL.
I mean, I'm sure he got him gifts and
players
stuff.
in.
He was making a ton of money.
Nobody's singling out Shedeur. He just got done telling you he had a 1st-round grade on him. We all like him. I want him to do great. He's been fantastic since he's been here. Nobody is attacking him. He's just giving the information he knew, and it may be his dad's impact, but
that's true too. That's true too. Daddy's been in his ear.
Yeah, he's been a huge impact, and it hasn't helped him at times. Yeah, nobody is blaming him for making millions, of course.
No, God no.
I'm just calling bullshit on he paid for Buffalo's own NIL. That I'm calling bullshit on that. That I don't even think you can do that. That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
So you got one NIL deal and then turn around and put that money back into the NIL to pay for more players? That makes no sense. Anyways. Yeah, I should.
Everybody's getting sick of the Shedeur talk.
Yeah, right with your 1st round. Nobody's backtracking. He said 1st-round grade. What are you guys talking about?
But you have to find out why, right? Like, so if you give a guy a grade, you have to figure out why he didn't go there, right? Like Brad and I, when David Bell was drafted, we love David Bell. We were trying to figure out why he fell. Well, it's pretty clear he fell because he didn't have the speed to be a dude, right? So like you have to figure out why did Shedeur fall to the fifth, and it's clearly something we can't see on film, right? It's when someone falls, it's usually something in the locker room or something in his attitude or something in his intelligence that you can't see.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
he put money into the collective out of his own pocket, which paid money to players.
maybe I don't know.
Dion, I've never heard of such a thing, but I'll look into it. I'm not gonna. That's not what we're here to talk about either way. Did Diontae Johnson talk to the press today, Drew? Yes, he did. He sounded very. I don't know. He was not. He was not like. I don't know. He was not very enthused, I'll say that. He did not come across as enthused until they brought up the prospects of him playing against the Steelers and the Ravens twice a year. And he smiled at that. I'll say that much. I've got some for you guys, as usual. I got some B-roll to play while we talk about this, so you guys can all, courtesy of Cam Justice, who does a great job with this stuff, but she was gonna try to stop by tonight, but they're doing their own show. She's been at camp, but I do have her compilation here of 3 days of minicamp quarterback throwing. Yes, he did. Old man Dessert. 1 second. He said that his only call, Diontae Johnson's only call, invitation to come to camp, was from Cleveland. It's wild, right?
I mean, is it? I don't want to say he's washed, but like,
it's not wild, but it's like, okay. I mean,
I don't like. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't surprise me, I guess. Maybe it should.
Yeah, there he is, right there, 16.
I mean, I hope he does. I see people in the chat defending Diontae Johnson. There's a lot of guys that I think are washed and they come back and they do great. Look at Sam Darnold. Like, you know what I mean? So, hopefully Diontae Johnson is this year's Sam Darnold at the wide receiver position, right? But these guys that leave these receivers that leave Pittsburgh don't have the best track record. It's like once they leave Pittsburgh, they've done a good job of getting rid of the dead weight before it becomes dead.
If he could just stay right, he would make a huge difference for this team. They need him to.
There's a lot to like about him. I mean,
his ability to separate is amazing,
and he's been great since Toledo. I mean, he's been a very a fun player to watch since his days at Toledo. Like I said, I love local guys. I love local guys. I love guys that went to college in Ohio playing for the Browns. So I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for all the Browns. But I'm just trying to be realistic, right?
Buke saying, if you believe he's a first-round grade and the other host hated the Dylan pick, that's me. My name's Brad Buke, and that's Josh, if you want to, and you've been here a couple weeks now. My name is Brad. And you... why are you not upset he's not allowed to throw to Judy? Well, it's not that he's not allowed to throw to him. I think that he probably has had the opportunity probably when cameras aren't around. And if that's not the case, then he certainly will get the opportunity moving forward. The most important time, patience, guys. Just if he's the best out there, he'll win it. I mean, look at him. He looks good. He throws a great ball. But I mean, I'll put this up again. They're in pajamas. They're not in pads.
Well, and we talked about how this might be part of Stefanski's master plan. First of all, We know that the Browns and the coaching staff like Dillon Gabriel more. And we know that because they drafted Dillon Gabriel first. Okay. I don't like Dillon Gabriel more, but I'm not coaching the Cleveland Browns, and I'm not qualified to coach the Cleveland Browns. So a bit of my trust is held within Stefanski seeing something that I can't. A. B, the fact that the chat is talking about Shedeur Sanders with this much passion is kind of evidence that maybe he doesn't want to show his hand. Because if he does play well, it's game over. You got to play Shedeur, right?
Yeah, I mean, you make a really good point. Like, it doesn't matter how we feel. The Browns selected him first. So they obviously took him first. Now, if after and all they've done so far is OTAs, and honestly, when Stefanski has had an opportunity to speak about Shedeur, he spoke of him glowingly, that he's been amazing since he's been in the building and all this. So, guys, just patience. I think that, honestly, he has for me, he's best case scenario, right? He's best case scenario. Yeah. He's bigger. I think his ceiling is 10 times higher than Gabriel's, in my personal opinion.
100%.
So with that 100%. In mind, I think that he will be the starter. But just like with every other rookie that's ever been drafted, it takes some time, and he's looked great so far. We don't know what we can't see, and we've only been able to see 5 days out of 10 practices. So
yeah, and I think when you look at their scouting reports too, like I agree with you. Shedeur Sanders has the way higher ceiling. Shedeur Sanders, there is no physical. There's nothing he can't do physically, right? He's big enough. He's strong enough. He's accurate enough. His big issue at Colorado was he held on to the ball for too long. But some of that you can't. Yeah. But some of that, even some of that, you can kind of make excuses for too, because he had 5 of his wide receivers got drafted, and they were all kind of speedsters. He's waiting for him to get deep. His offensive line sucked. So even that, I'm willing to kind of make excuses for him. Dillon Gabriel has physical limitations. Now, I see people ripping on Dillon Gabriel's size. I don't think that the size is Dillon Gabriel's issue. I think Shedeur is really only 2 inches taller than Dillon Gabriel. I don't think Shedeur is a big, tall guy either. Dillon Gabriel's big issue is he's got no arm. He can't throw it further than 20 yards without heaving his whole body into it. You know what I mean? That's his issue. Like you're going to be a dink and dunk offense, reminiscent of when the Browns had Jeff Garcia. That's his issue. I don't think his size is really. I mean, because he moves well in the pocket. He seems to see the field pretty well. I don't think size is that big of a concern for Dillon. I think people are overestimating how big of an issue that is.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the supporters of him say that the size doesn't show up on film, but does he throw over the middle enough? Is my question.
I think so.
I don't see him throw over the middle a ton. Like I'm recalling the film that I watched on him, and I just remember thinking, boy, he does throw to the outside a lot.
But some of that's the Oregon's offense, right? I mean, sure. I don't know. I know that there were games where the tight end was very involved with their passing game, and that the tight end is primarily over the middle. I don't know, man. I watched him. I hate Dillon Gabriel. If you go listen to the Ohio State Mind podcast, so many people were we have 3 listeners, and all 3 were messaging me all night after the Browns drafted Dillon. But I hated Dillon Gabriel because he transferred 3 times and he's my age. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things where I just got sick of seeing him every Saturday. But there's no denying that dude can sling it. He was making moves, and he caused Ohio State a lot of issues, dude. He just can't throw it for the 20 yards.
He did. My issue was it just felt like a reach in where they took him. There was good play. At the time, similar to my reaction to DTR years ago, which guy got a lot of heat for, but ended up being the correct reaction.
You and I were both 100% on DTR. DTR,
yeah. But the 10 guys in front of Gabriel in the draft and the 10 guys behind him all could have helped this roster, and they took him there. And I'm not sure he wouldn't have been there a couple rounds later.
Would I have drafted him there? No.
No.
I'm not. I would not have. But I understand why they did. So I agree with everything you're saying, but it was one of those picks where I was like, all right, I guess I can see the vision, so I'm not upset about it. I don't know if he would from who I've spoken to, which is very few people, because I'm so disconnected with everything now, is I don't because a lot of people have said that he probably would have made it a couple rounds later. I don't know if that's true, dude. I think that a lot of people like Dillon Gabriel. He's been playing he's been playing college football for 6 years. And the difference between him and DTR is DTR didn't get better. He never got any better. He was the same dude he was when he was a true freshman at UCLA. Dillon Gabriel got better every year. Every year that dude got better. And his receivers weren't exactly like Jeremiah Smith, man. I mean, they were, Evan Stewart's really good. I like Evan Stewart, but Tez Johnson's okay, but he's my height. Like, I don't know. They never had he never had anybody dominating that he was throwing it up to at UCF, at Oklahoma, or here. So I don't know. I could see it. I agree with 100% what you're saying. Maybe it's just me being, a Browns homer trying to make excuses for the pick, but I could see it.
Can you believe that I have to watch Kenny fucking Pickett on our team?
Do you remember when the Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett? You and I got into a conversation because I like Kenny Pickett coming out of Pitt.
An argument, you mean?
It wasn't really an argument because the Steelers drafted him, but you hated him more than I did. I don't have a problem with Kenny Pickett. I liked him at Pitt. I don't know. He played all right in that one game. Was against Dallas? Is that who it was?
I don't know. Pat Shea says Gabriel is he fits what KS is looking for. And I'll listen to that, like the timing offense, the accuracy, but like you can't tell me that Shedeur doesn't fit in the same way.
Well, I think Shedeur fits every system, right? That's kind of what we were saying. There's no physical limitations.
Not really. He's not like an athletic specimen. He's not like going to get out of the pocket and make things happen, really.
Yeah, he's not Lamar. You're right. Yeah, I could see Dillon Gabriel and Kevin Stefanski hitting it off. I could see them,
I think he won a lot of people. He won a lot of people over in the process, right? Like people are like, yeah, he interviewed fantastic. He was great on the whiteboard. They love his processing. You know what I mean? So like you could see how he could win teams over.
And I know that Ohio State wanted him badly.
Yeah.
They did not want Will Howard. They wanted Dillon Gabriel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They wanted Dillon Gabriel bad.
Wow. I would rather have Will Howard at this point.
I think they wanted Michael Pratt the most, but he declared for the draft that year. But Dillon Gabriel was – I don't remember if Dillon Gabriel was their first or second call, but he was called before Will Howard for sure.
Is he – hold on. Is Pickett wearing gloves right now?
I believe so.
It's 80 degrees out, and this dude – does he always wear 2 gloves no matter what?
I think that's his thing, right? Doesn't he wear gloves all the time?
Because of his little baby hands.
That's why. I hope he's a Hall of Famer, bro.
That's why. I can't tell if he's wearing gloves. I thought he maybe wasn't in these. I think he is, though.
I hope Kenny's a Hall of Famer, man. I do. I hope he leads the Browns.
He's not going to be a Hall of Famer.
I hope he leads the Browns to the Super Bowl. I hope he's the Browns' Nick Foles.
He is such garbage. There he is. He's wearing You remember have you ever seen the Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the lawyer that puts the fake big hands over the small hands and they go flying on?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's wearing prosthetic hands. If the gloves fit, you must sling it.
Hey, Joe Burrow.
No, he did not have a concussion, James. He just was out or whatever. I think he probably tweaked something.
What? Jeff Tucker wrote, Brad wants Pickett and Christina Ricci to marry?
No, it's an inside joke.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that reference.
Yeah.
Hey, there's been a lot of good quarterbacks that wear gloves. Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Two Gloves. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Buke, his hand issue is that they're puny. His hands are too small. That's what it is. There's no hiding it. Have you ever seen this image of his actual hands up close? I'll show you. It's epically bad.
Well, everybody's hands are going to look small next to Joe Flacco, too.
No, his hands were. Don't make me bring up his Raz. Look at these baby hands. Look at those.
The giant helmet doesn't help. How much?
No, it doesn't help. It's one of the most hilarious pictures I've ever seen. But we used to show this picture on the show on the weekly, and now he's in the Browns. Now he's on the Browns.
There you go. Kid Wilson's got it. Michael Vick had the same size hands. That's a fun fact I did not know. Is that true?
Get out of here. Is that true?
Someone needs to Google that. I'd love to take your word for it, kid, but I that does sound.
Kenny Pickett hand size. Ready?
Because didn't he run around with man, I don't know, dude.
Pickett's hand size as measured at the NFL Combine is 8.5 inches. Okay? So the threshold for NFL teams before they start thinking that you have small hands is 9. He's so 8.5 is not even close.
All right, so I mean, Joe Burrow's hands were 9 inches. Is that a big difference? You think? I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. When we start talking about hands,
yeah, I do. I think it is a big difference. 9 is the threshold. I mean, it's the difference between ball security. I think at times.
Mike Vick, wow. Kid Wilson nailed it. Mike Vick did have 8.5-inch hands.
Wow, he did. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a good story. I can't remember who it was. God, I can't remember if it was Doug Flutie and Rob Johnson. I think that was it. It was like when the Doug Flutie was with the Bills. I think it was Doug Flutie. Someone double check this, but basically it was snowing and raining and real shitty out, and he was struggling. He threw 2 interceptions or 3 interceptions, and they put the dude in with the giant hands. And then when they came back and won the game, so I think it is more effective. I think it's more vital when you're talking about inclement weather for sure. God, someone double check that story. Because I know I'm butchering it. Someone wrote Kenny's a slightly worse athlete than Mike.
Yeah, slightly.
Just slightly, ever so slightly, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, he has the smallest hand size. His right hand is measured at 8.5 inches, which would be the smallest of any quarterback currently in the NFL. The closest one is Taysom Hill, who isn't even really a quarterback at 8.
How is that possible? Taysom Hill is huge, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't Taysom Hill 6'4"?
Yeah. Well, so Kenny's tall, isn't he?
I think you're right. You know what? I'm an idiot. You're right. Wow, Dylan Gabriel has 9.25-inch hands.
Yeah, and Bengals star Joe Burrow, who went to his first Super Bowl last month, so this was a couple years ago, spent plenty of time leading up to the 2020 draft answering questions about his hand measurement of 9 inches at the Combine. He joked on Twitter that he was considering retirement after I was informed the ball would be slipping out of my tiny hands. He went number 1 in the draft. Yeah. Just for reference, Russell Wilson, who is not – how tall is Russ? 6 feet?
Yeah, I think he's probably the same height as Gabriel.
Yeah, maybe a little bit taller. 10 and 1/4.
Yeah, I knew Russell had huge hands.
Aaron Rodgers, 10 and 1/8. Josh Allen, 10 and 1/8. The smallest among any group in the NFL as far as hand size is Burrow, Tannehill, and Goff, who are all at 9 inches. I'm telling you, that's typically the threshold.
That's so wild to me. That's that. You think that? I mean, obviously, there's other issues going on with him, though, right? He doesn't just suck because of his hand. Well, I shouldn't say he sucks. He's with the Browns now, so I'm rooting for him. But he has had his struggles early in his NFL career for other reasons than just his tiny little whopper hands.
Yeah, it's not just his hands.
Which are still bigger than mine, too. I'm bashing this guy's hands, and they're like, I think my hands are like 5 inches.
Have you measured?
No, but at a solid 5'8", I'm pretty sure that they're not 8 inches.
Oh, I forgot you were 5'8". Dude, you're a D1 running back. You don't need big hands.
Thank God.
Dude, I wonder, because you were a running back, if you would have gone to the combine, they would have been like, dude, you got to stretch that shit out. So the craziest thing is Jalen Milroe had 8 3/4. So they measure from here to here, right? And Milroe showed up at the combine with like 8 3/4, right? And then some, or not at the combine. Before that, there was a report wherever he was, pro day, whatever, 8 3/4, and then miraculously at the combine, it was like 9.5, because there's like stretches you can do to make it bigger, to like stretch your hand out.
Yeah, and wasn't there? I bet that there was probably some kind of discrepancy too, because Jalen Milroe is also a big dude. I gave Jalen Milroe a first-round grade too. I love Jalen Milroe. I like Jalen Milroe more than Jackson Dart. I thought Jackson Dart. I don't understand that pick. I don't.
Yes, I can't. I can do that, Kramer. That's on the agenda tonight. So, yes, Shamar Stewart has left the facility.
That's hilarious.
It's so funny, man. This is from Ben, baby. Bengals rookie defensive end Shamar Stewart left Cincinnati's mandatory minicamp Thursday amid contract dispute. The Bengals' first-round draft selection has not participated in any of the team's off-season workouts. According to a source, the dispute is centered on interpretation of the language in the contract that could affect guaranteed money. He wasn't here today, so we just feel. Go ahead.
I just don't understand how you can screw up.
You can't.
That's. I mean, you and I are old enough. We remember when guy like Jamarcus Russell signed for like the largest contract. Rookies were holding out all the time, right? I think Gerard Warren held out because there was no rookie contract ladder. But it's like, how do you screw it up now? You have to pay him a certain amount. I don't understand this.
You can't screw it up now. There's a structured pay scale.
It's so weird, man.
The freaking cheap ass poverty franchise Bengals are just trying to pull some crazy nonsense after they paid their wide receivers.
I think that the last player under the current. Well, no, I don't know. I know Joey Bosa, because Joey Bosa was drafted with the Chargers when they had the rookie structure going on too, right? And the Chargers tried to play funny business with his contract as well, right? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, you're right. Pat Shea's right as usual. It is about the guarantee. It's about the language or the offset language or the guaranteed money language in the contract. But still, like, come on, man.
It's so well, it makes it even funnier because they let Trey. The Trey Hendrickson issue too.
He's not there either.
What is your plan? That's hilarious.
I don't know. It's wild. And I mean, everybody that I've heard talk about this is on Stewart's side.
Yeah.
When asked Tuesday by ESPN how long he thought the contract dispute might last, he indicated that he isn't seeking anything different or unique from previous Bengals draft picks. In my case, I'm 100% right, Stewart said. I'm not asking for nothing that's never been done before. But in this team's case, y'all just want to win an argument instead of winning more games, in my opinion.
Dude.
Ouch.
Someone asked,
ouch.
Someone asked if this was the first time a rookie requested a trade. Bo Jackson, didn't something similar happen? Bo Jackson got drafted by the Buccaneers, even though he told them, I don't want to be drafted by you. And they were like, we don't care. And then he just played baseball instead. So, I mean, I guess if you want to count that, I mean, John Elway, he refused to play for the Colts. And then obviously Phillip Rivers refused to play for the Charger.
Yeah.
No, I'm not Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning.
Yeah.
But I don't know if most of the time that's what happens is the guy tells you I don't want to play there beforehand. Shamar's more.
That wasn't a trade request. That was like a ultimatum. Like that was just
This might be the first time where a rookie gets drafted by a team he's willing to play for and absolutely hates it 2 months into his career.
So maybe you would know this. This is Pat Shea brings up a good point. Yes, Jeff, I am aware it is about the language of the contract, for sure. But he's right, though. He isn't asking for anything different than anybody else has ever gotten.
No. I think Pat Shea's right here, too, because that's what Bo Jackson did, right? He got drafted.
Well, here's my question.
And then like the 7th round by the Raiders.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask because that you would know this because of the NIL and in the new rules. So you can sit out and go back in the draft next year. He has an agent. So in the past, you would not have been able to do that because you hired an agent. Once you hire an agent, you forgo your eligibility before NIL and all this stuff. Can college players have an active agent when they're in college now because of NIL?
Yeah, they can.
So then maybe he can go back now.
I don't know. Maybe that would be a good. I don't know. That would be he would. I guess he could test it out. I don't know. But here's the deal though, if you could do that, why wouldn't you do that if you were an undrafted free agent guy like? I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone who went undrafted. DJU or whatever.
Bengals fans are saying because he had no production in college, you drafted him.
And he was very good in college. I don't know. He was part of that.
He had no production though. I mean, his athletic profile is tremendous, but like,
I don't know if that's fair though, because it's in college too. It's weird because
he had 1 sack, I think.
But when you look, okay, but I think I don't know if that's 100% fair in college because first of all, he was getting double teamed a lot. Second of all, the stat production you're looking for in college doesn't typically come from. I mean, the SEC leader in sacks was that Princely Umanuma guy from Ole Miss who got drafted in like the 6th round. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I mean, Michael Sam led the SEC in sacks when he was a senior, and he wasn't very good. I mean, there's a lot of guys. I don't know if who Jason Owe, the defensive end that was drafted from the Penn State in the 1st round to the Baltimore Ravens last year.
Yeah, sure. I'm not saying that you can't be good without production in the NFL. I'm just saying that one of the things that people check off of is production, and for him, it's more of he's an athletic freak.
100%.
Can that translate to the NFL? Yes, we think it can. But once you draft him, you can't complain about his production now and not pay him. You already drafted him.
Yeah, that's weird. Plus, that's so weird. It's such a weird because they're not you don't negotiate. You just pay him what you pay every.
You just give him what it's. Yeah, I know it's about the language, but
it's so weird,
what would you trade for him?
From the Browns?
I wouldn't trade for him.
I'd give him a 2nd round pick.
I mean, if they were really trying to get rid of him, maybe like a 5th, 4th.
Damn, really? The guy was drafted in the 1st round.
I know, but like, what does that serve the Browns? I mean, do they need another edge? That badly?
I guess I would look at it like I'm getting a guy. I'm getting a discount on who are you drafting in the 2nd round next year? I guess is how I would view it, right? Because you might draft an edge rusher. You might.
I'm just keeping the full boat. I'm keeping my full boat of picks in case none of these quarterbacks work out and I got to go get my franchise guy next year.
Oh, damn. So you would give up on these guys after 1 year?
I think they have to find out about these guys this year because
Interesting. Okay.
you have 2 1s next year now,
Yeah.
and what is projected to be a really good quarterback class. Now,
But they say that
best
every year.
case, I agree. So
They said
it
that
may
last
not
year.
be, and if it's not, maybe you can push the draft. Maybe you can push the pick forward another year by trading down or whatever. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, because why are they saying that? Because Arch Manning,
no,
who started 3 games,
no, not. I don't even think Arch will come out next year. There's a bunch of guys.
there
Sellers.
who's got 1 year of starting experience. You got Drew Aller, who I love Drew Aller, but he's
Drew
inconsistent.
Aller. I'm just saying who that they're projecting. I haven't dug into the tape on these guys. I'm just saying who they think will be top quarterback. They're just saying it's going to be a lot better than this year, which was dog shit, right? So
I guess we'll see. I don't know. I just they. I mean, Quinn Ewers was supposed to be a first-round pick, and he fell to the 7th. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's a lot can happen from here to there, dude. I don't know.
I totally agree with you. Like speculating what the draft will be, it's often incorrect, right? It doesn't mean anything. But I do think with 2 first-round picks, you got to find out if these guys are the guys. Now, your best case situation is that Shedeur is the guy. He proves that to you without a shadow of a doubt, and you can use those picks to give him an offensive lineman and a wide receiver, and then you're in the money, right? So Garrett Nussmeier, they have Arch Manning listed, but I don't think he'll come out. Drew Aller, Lenoris Sellers, Carson Beck.
And all, who was not good at Georgia last year, but he was sure. And all those guys are very good. I'm not talking crap. I love Drew Aller. I got to see him play in high school.
I think Klubnik, they like
been
him.
Very good. I like him. All these guys are very. All I'm saying is that a lot can happen between then and now. And I like
totally
this draft.
agree.
I like these quarterbacks. I think that I like Cam Ward. I liked him since he was in Incarnate Word. I like Shedeur. I like Jalen Milroe. I think that I gave all 3 of those guys a first-round grade. So that's all I'm saying. I'm defending this class as well. No, I did not see his hair. I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, he looks like a punk rocker, right? Is that what it was?
Does he look like Danny McBride in the 2nd season of Eastbound and Down? The cornrows?
Anything more about the guys we have out there right now? So, yeah. So, here are my notes. According to people I've talked to, Diabate has looked tremendous in camp. The corners defense had a really good day today. The secondary, especially, obviously, it's a glorified passing camp at this point. So, but like your one secondary right there, Emerson had a good day. Denzel had a good day. So that's what I heard. The defense was kind of dominant today, is what I heard. Flacco's still taking very minimal reps, which makes sense. The thing with Flacco is that, like, I think when you need to worry or when you're going to realize that, it's good to see. Listen, this is great. Seeing Judy versus Emerson, that's a good matchup, right? Emerson needs that bounce back year. The question about here, right there, you see Ronnie Harrison, or pardon me. Did I call him Ronnie Harrison? Ronnie Hickman. Browns went out and got 2 veteran safeties in Casey and Jenkins. And in that way, Josh, they basically want Hickman to win this starting free safety job, I think.
Yeah,
And
I would agree with that. I like Diontae Johnson when he was at San Diego State. I think he led the country in interceptions at the time, but that was like in the Mountain West 10 years ago. So you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're clearly like Hickman.
which is, like, do you think his game well? We've seen him play well at times, but is he a starting level free safety in the NFL?
I think he has the physical ability to do that. I mean, the kid was a former 5-star recruit. Some things didn't bounce right for him during his college career. So again, I think you're looking at a possible late bloomer kind of guy. Is he going to ever be elite? No. I think he's always going to be a guy that I think if like a guy like Caleb, if the Browns struggle on defense and a guy like Caleb Downs is sitting there in the first round, they're not going to say no to that because of Ronnie Hickman. I don't think that's ever what he's going to be, what he's going to become. But I don't think he's a liability. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes total sense. I guess my question is more of not like because he's been good for what he
Yeah.
he was really good in his rookie year, right? When he was forced into action and had that huge interception in 23 against the Jets, and he's played well at times. I just wonder, like, okay, so they brought in, like, is KZ gonna beat him out?
No.
Like a veteran guy, like a middle of the road veteran safety. Is he gonna be better than Hickman?
I don't think so.
I mean,
no.
like,
I
huh?
don't think I don't think so. I don't think Rayshon Jenkins is going to be better than him either. Those are all guys that are pretty old too, right? I mean, those guys both
Jenkins is older. KZ's the one I think that is the one that. Well, I guess KZ's 32. So
yeah.
look at his. Holy crap, man! KZ. Well, this is with Pittsburgh, so that makes sense. But Pittsburgh 922. This is KZ, right? Suspended 3 games, substance abuse. Suspension lifted. Suspended 3 games, repeated unnecessary roughness penalties. Suspension lifted, exemption lifted. Holy crap, he was in some serious trouble. There was an exemption. Huh. I don't remember that. Headhunter, huh?
I don't. In college, he was always kind of a ball hawk. He was pretty solid. Rayshon Jenkins was solid too. You probably remember him at Miami. He was like a 5-star recruit as well.
I do, and I did a deep dive on Jenkins, and Jenkins was very much he was more of a free safety when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he's gone through his career, like he was in his prime, he was a really good combo safety that made a lot of tackles and was a very good player, right? And then now that he's gotten a little older, he's more of a box safety. But he can do both. He can kind of play that Rodney McLeod role.
Yeah, I think that was a very eloquent way. I think you described both of those guys really. Like both guys were had moments of solid to above solid play in their prime. The Browns are getting them on their, on their crescendo, I guess, or they're on their decline.
Yeah, and they could have gone in more at the position.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, Connie asking if he's had some moments for sure. You're right, Connie. Have we seen his ceiling? I think the Browns have already showed us they have the money to spend on a safety if they wanted to go bigger here. And instead they went middle of the road veteran. And to me, that shows that they think that Hickman is good enough to be their starter. So no, I don't. They're betting on his ceiling is higher, I think.
And that might be a good bet. I wouldn't do that, but I only saw him at Ohio State, right? And he just didn't hit where he was supposed to hit. But this is a guy who was a former 5-star recruit, former fringe 5-star recruit, and he checks all the physical boxes. So sometimes that happens. Sometimes these guys bloom late.
It's good coverage by Diabate right here.
I mean, Diabate's another one of those guys because he was at Florida first, right? Sat the bench and then he went to Utah, which was
UDFA.
pretty solid. Yeah.
So all in 1 year, UDFA wise, they had Bell, Hickman, and Diabate. I think all in 1 year, all UDFAs.
Yeah, and you and I both talked about Diabate. Like we were both kind of shocked that he didn't get drafted because he had like a lot of the measurables and he was pretty productive. It was Utah, right? He transferred from Florida to Utah.
What was I'll look right now. But yeah, so let me. Speaking of this, I wanted to get your impression while I have you here. Of so you know the bad news about JOK and everything, right?
Yes, it sucks.
So I want to ask you about this room a little bit, but let me look at where he went to school real quick. Diabate, Utah. Good call. 6'3", 225. He's so light. Yeah, Kramer, I'm a Winston Reed fan too. He is a thumper, and he made some plays today as well from what I saw. Pat Shea asking, do you see any trades before training camp begins? I don't see any. I don't think the Browns are going to make any trades. I could be wrong. I would love for them to trade for a receiver, but I just don't think that the kind of receivers that the Browns want to add, your younger, higher upside guys, are going to get cut, or teams aren't going to recognize that they want to move off of them until closer to the season starting, till closer to that final cut date. I did, however, see, interestingly enough, I have the Packers as one of the teams circled that may have a surplus of receivers. Yeah. They flipped Bo Melton around and had him playing corner in practice. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because that dude, is that where his brother plays too? Does his brother play cornerback? The Melton, both those boys are in the pros, right?
I believe so, but I just saw, as soon as I saw Bo Melton flipped over to the defense, I'm like, oh, they're already giving up on one of them.
I love him at Rutgers. I love Bo Melton at Rutgers, dude.
I take Melton to bring as wide receiver. They want to use him on defense. We'll take him.
Yeah,
he can come try out. I mean, dude, their wide receiver room is ridiculous, dude. For me, not like high end talent, like depth.
But everybody's solid. Everybody's solid.
Like they're gonna have to cut one of these guys, and this is like, bring this up. I know I've done this 100 times. My chat's probably furious with me right now because I have like Green Bay circled. I have New England circled as a team that's going to have to get rid of probably a young, at least high upside, like a lottery ticket guy, like a higher draft pick, like Polk or even Kendrick Bourne. They may have to give up on. Not that he's that young, but like I just don't see how they have room for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, let's watch this play first, and then. But here's Diabate in coverage. I mean, he looks good, man. I did see when Jerry Jeudy was mic'd up, he was talking to Michael Woods about. Is that Fannin? No. I keep seeing this one tight end make all these catches from Shedeur. Trey McKitty. Do you know who that is?
Oh, from William and Mary? Is that where he was
from?
Right
there. He's a big boy. Look at him. 87. He is a big boy.
No, he was from Georgia. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think he was pretty highly recruited, too, if I remember right.
Oh, there's your boy right there. Oh, he is fast, huh?
Who? I missed it.
That's Gill, I think, right here. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bad pass. That's a rough one. Good ball. That's Gill right there, 38. He caught that one, but here,
I'm not saying he's going to be a star or anything, but I thought it was an interesting pick.
You know, but watch his speed here up the sideline when they throw back to him. Next play, I think. Right here. Whoop.
Yeah. Like I said, he might be a late bloomer, man. He just got he was very impatient in college, and he
Dude,
kind of got screwed at Ohio State a little bit. So
look at Whitebeard has been tearing it up, man. Wait, who is that? There's 82 and 86 in this tight end room.
I'm trying to look it up too.
Brendan Bates is 82. Whiteheart, I call him Whitebeard, is 86. I think one of those, and Trey McKitty is the other tight end. So, and then they have Fannin and Njoku. They're going to keep 3, you would think. I think it's probably Whitebeard, but
I like Trey McKitty. I like Trey McKitty. When you first said his name, I was like, who's that? But after I pulled him up, I was like, oh, I remember that dude at Georgia. Like he was kind of in that. He kind of gets forgotten about because Georgia had that run of like really great tight ends.
Yeah, he catches a lot of balls from Shedeur so far. Here's I think this might be today's Shedeur highlights. If you just want to watch through these real quick. That's Whitebeard. Akins is still a free agent. Pat Shea, I checked. He could get picked up. Couple dink and dunk stuff. That was Akins. That was Fannin there. That's 83. That's Keyshawn Johnson, 83. All right, so here's Shedeur today. I know, Jeff Tucker. Thank you. I'm aware. I was just trying to get to your... Here's your Shedeur stuff. There's 38 is Gill.
It's Gill.
Yeah. That's Bates. Gill again.
I believe that Jalen Gill was the first early sign when they changed the signing period to December. I think he was the first one ever.
Yeah.
When Urban was there, I think 2017 maybe.
So doing all this 2 spotting here and stuff, but they get to his boy, Jeff, you're quite the Tuck, you're quite the critic tonight, buddy.
Are we saying Gill too much? Are we talking about Jalen Gill too much?
I guess we said Gill too many times for Tuck's liking.
There he is again.
Oh, that was Gill. Yeah. There he is again. No, there's Diontae. Pressure up the middle. Whoop. Judkins.
Big Judkins guy. Big fan of that. I was Team Travion, but Quinn.
Me too.
I see why the Browns picked him though. The Browns wanted the hammer.
It makes more sense now, but on the night of, I was like, this is the perfect spot for Henderson, right?
Yeah. But when they drafted Dylan Sampson, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. When you add him with Sampson, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Plus, Travion did deal with some injuries early on in his career, so I get it.
It does, Kramer. I would agree. There were a few. Sometimes the ball looks a little wobbly coming out of Shedeur's hand, but it looks cleaner the past few days.
He throws a great ball. There's no, I mean, based off of this, he does look like the best quarterback, right? Like he does,
he does, right? Like, I mean,
it's
very limited, but he looks better. I mean, except for Flacco. I'm not gonna say he looks better than Flacco, but there's not much of Flacco throwing here. Flacco's arm just looks 10 times better than everybody else's.
Is that fair though? Because he also, you know what I mean? Like he's got one of the strongest arms in NFL history. Like,
I know. But that makes a difference, right?
yeah, and he also can't move though. Like we talked about Shedeur not being a great athlete, but Joe Flacco, that dude is.
I mean, none of these guys can really move. I mean, I guess Pickett can move some.
Dylan Gabriel moves. He got some wiggle to him.
Oh, look at that. Diontae on the pass breakup there. Time that perfect. See if we can get that again. Love to see Miles Harden take a step forward this year. It's a kid from Kent State, I think. All right, here it is. Coming up, Diontae on another pass breakup. Is this it? No. Pickett throwing the ball in the grass.
I think Diabate can be very solid. They also signed another undrafted free agent this year.
Right here. Boom. Pierce Strong's getting cut.
You think?
Practice squad, at least. I mean, they got their 3 backs. If Nick Chubb can't make the team, neither can Pierce Strong.
That's a fact. But yeah, they signed that linebacker. Oh God, where's he from? He's from USC, but he transferred in from Oregon State, and he was kind of a tackle machine. Yeah. He had a brother too.
McCarranis Arnold.
There you go. Yeah, that guy. I like him. I thought that was when they picked him up. I was like, okay, I think that guy can make the team.
I don't even know who the hell this guy is.
He's undersized, but he was always around the ball. A, and B, I think he transferred in from Oregon State where he had like 1 million tackles. Yeah. But I thought there was something. You know, he's undersized. I think that's why he didn't get drafted. Kind of like when we talked about Diabate. So I think there's something there.
So that's what I wanted to ask you about, and then we'll wrap things up here. I know we've been going a little long, but I wanted to ask you about this linebacker room without JOK. So you have Jordan Hicks, who I mean, your long-term Mike linebacker is Carson Schlesinger, right?
Is he, or is he on the outside?
I think long-term he's your Mike.
Okay.
I think this year as a rookie, he's your Will for JOK.
I think he's good enough. He can make the switch to whatever in the second level. He can do whatever you need. I think he's big enough, fast enough, strong enough, smart enough.
I think they drafted him projecting. My understanding is they kind of drafted him projecting him as their long-term middle linebacker, but
that makes sense.
But you have Jordan Hicks there now, so that's fine, right? And you lost JOK, so he probably starts at Will. But I think he immediately is your second best linebacker. Would you agree with that?
I think he could be the best I think he might be the best by season's end. That was another guy. I wouldn't have drafted him, but when the Browns drafted him, I was like, all right, okay, I see that. I get weird about whatever. He's a walk-on, so walk-ons.
Yeah.
You would think that I'd love walk-ons, but for some reason they always have like why was he a walk-on? But dude, walk-ons typically lack some athleticism. Not him, dude. That guy's he's one of the most explosive linebackers. He was probably the most explosive linebacker in the draft class last year. I mean, that dude. When I watched him, I was like, man, if Ohio State had him, like that guy is special. That guy is really good. So yeah, I got big hopes and dreams for him. I really like him. And the fact that he is a walk-on shows how hard he works, right?
Yeah. I mean, he freaking played. He didn't even play he only played 1 year, right? And just lit the world on fire. I mean, he was special teams for most of his career, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a walk-on, so yeah. But, I mean, he was pretty explosive. I think the last 2 years he's been pretty dominant.
Yeah, maybe 2.
Or maybe I'm wrong.
Anyway, so here's your room. Hicks, Schlesinger. I mean, if you're gonna go full, if you're gonna load up in a base defense, which they were very rarely do, I guess Diabate.
I like Diabate. I don't think he's a liability. So yeah, I'm cool with Diabate. It wouldn't surprise me if
Is he big enough to play in a base? Probably not. Maybe Winston Reed instead. They have Jerome Baker as well. Devin Bush.
Jerome Baker's interesting. I'm biased towards Jerome Baker, former Buckeye, but
I liked him even. I liked him. I've liked him for a long time as a player in Miami. So I thought that was a great signing, depth or otherwise.
I think
he was gonna start until Schlesinger got, no JOK, no Schlesinger. I think he starts, but
and he started for Tennessee last year too. So it's not like he's a scrub. You know what I mean? It's not like he's a scrub who fell off and the Browns are trying to resurrect his career. Like he did start for Tennessee when he got traded there. Just things happen, right?
Yeah. So then you have Winston Reed, who is back in another UDFA, but had a real good year on special teams last year. Flashed at the end of the year when he had a chance. Bigger guy.
Yeah.
Devin Bush, they love, right? Except he got in trouble, but I think he signed enough guaranteed money that he'll stick around anyways. But
I like Devin Bush. I'm a big Devin Bush guy.
I think that linebacker room is pretty good.
I think it's okay. Yeah, there's better ones out. I don't think that they're bad. I think that the perception is that they're bad. I don't think that's true at all. I think that there's some quality veterans that aren't terrible, and then there's some guys that could pop that are younger. And then you got guys that are maybe a little trouble. Like Devin Bush. He was a former first-round pick. That guy's a freak. I think that guy's. There's something there, man.
And he's coming off his best year since he sucked it up with Pittsburgh after he got hurt, right?
Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm with you there.
What do you think happens with Nathaniel Watson? Didn't have a great rookie year. Big linebacker. Led the SEC in tackles 2 years ago. Didn't do much last year. He's bigger than a lot of the linebackers they have. Do you like him as a player? Did you like him in college?
He was all right. He was okay. We talked about him briefly. He was. I don't have an issue with him sticking on the roster. I think he could transform into something that's okay. I don't think that he's a liability. Like you said, he is big. He was the SEC leading tackler, and it was at Mississippi State too. So he was, it's not like he played. It's not like he was a Georgia linebacker playing behind 4 first-round picks, right? He had to hunt and search for the ball. So I think that there's something there. I think it's too young to give up on him.
I just think he probably ends up on the practice squad again this year unless there's an injury.
I think that's fair too.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't just outright cut him.
I wouldn't cut him either. But like I think, with what they brought in, I mean, how many linebackers are you going to keep?
How many did you keep last year?
I don't know. Probably keep like 5 or 6, right? 6. So you have Hicks, Schlesinger, Diabate, Baker, Bush, and Winston Reed would be my pick. Unless he has to beat out Winston Reed to make the roster, basically.
But I think that's possible. I don't think it's impossible. Right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep. What was I looking at before? Oh, before we go. So yeah, Green Bay is one. In Indianapolis is another team that I think could have wide receivers surplus or guys that maybe they don't want to extend that they might trade for like a late round pick or something.
Like a guy like Alec Pierce.
Yep, that's exactly who I was hoping they would try to get rid of. But because they just they drafted what's his name last year.
Adonai Mitchell.
Yep, A.D. Mitchell. So like if A.D. Mitchell came on and looked really good in camp, you would have to think that with Pierce's injury history, they'd be like, do we really want to give this guy an extension with the way Mitchell's playing?
Don't they have another wide receiver that's kind of buried on the depth chart too, right? That was okay.
Pittman is a dog. Pittman is the man.
Yeah.
So here's,
I mean, they got a couple guys that didn't get to play much. I mean, Ashton Dolan, he's a local kid too. He's not good, but he's a local kid that's okay. That kid from Oregon State, I don't like him. Gould, but he's very fast, very quick. That might be something that they might be looking for, right?
They like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here is Green Bay. This is wild, dude. So same thought process with Christian Watson. If you want, he's been dinged up. He was a second-round pick. You've got a ton of talent here, in my opinion. You just took a first-round pick with Matthew Golden. Do you want to extend him? I don't know. If they don't, I would be calling and seeing what that costs.
Yeah, because that'd be a good pick. Because when that guy's healthy too, he's nasty. That's a good
nasty. So they go Romeo Doubs, who I love, Matthew Golden, who I love coming out in the draft, Jaden Reed, who I love, Savion Williams, who they just drafted in the 3rd round, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, who turned into a great player last year, McCole Hardman, free agent, Malik Heath, Bo Melton. I mean,
give me Bo Melton. Especially if you move to the DB, give me Bo Melton.
You can't keep 8 wide receivers. And these guys aren't going to make it onto the practice squad.
No,
they'll get scooped up. So you got decisions to make with like a rookie like Savion Williams. You know, not that he's the answer or anything, but
they're for sure keeping Savion Williams.
Right. So, and they're for sure keeping Wicks, and they're for sure keeping Dobbs and Reed and Golden, obviously. Yeah, who's the odd man out? Maybe they cut McCole Hardman.
I think you nailed it with Christian Watson.
Yeah, that's what I just keep hoping. But yeah, maybe a trade like that, Pat, could happen in between now and the time we come back.
Yeah, you were talking about the Colts too, and this is bottom of the barrel roster type of guy, but somebody that is still young and might be kind of interesting to watch out for because the Colts can't keep this many guys. But Aju is a guy that the Colts have. He is 6'2", 220 pounds, former 5-star receiver that went to Clemson back in the day. The beat writers that I know in Clemson, they saw Sammy Watkins, Mike Williams. And who's the other one? Who's the other big Clemson guy? Whatever. There were 3 guys that went back-to-back first round. He says Aju at the time, this was back when he was at Clemson, was the best wide receiver out of all 3 of them.
Out of all of them, yeah.
He ran into some troubles, had to go to community college, didn't do much, went up to Canada, dominated in Canada. I think it was for the Edmonton Elks, and he's with the Colts right now in training camp. I don't know how he's doing or nothing, but that's a guy that this is his first year in the NFL. He's never had a shot. Maybe he's grown up. Maybe another late bloomer kind type.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So my other team is New England, right? So sign Diggs, sign Mac Hollins. They love DeMario Douglas. They're not moving off him.
Yeah.
Drafted Kyle Williams, my draft crush, the guy I loved in the draft, right? They drafted Kyle Williams. And then they've got all these draft picks that from the past 2 years. So they've got Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
Who's a veteran, but better than what we have depth-wise. I don't want anything to do with Kayshon Boutte or Bout or whatever, but
that guy was a dog at LSU, though, man.
He was 6th-round draft pick in 23. I mean, I know he was a dog there, but I don't know.
He is a psycho.
I'm hoping, but then they have Javon Baker and Jalen Polk as well.
Jalen Polk was good too. Jalen Polk, I think there's something left in the tank
It's
there.
a second-round pick, man.
I know
last year.
That guy was fun to watch too. Like that guy, I think there's something there.
My favorite guy would be Javon Baker, but I don't think they'll move off of him.
John Baker was cool too. That's a solid pick. But Jalen Polk, man, like that's a guy that like I think he would fit what the Browns want to do too. What they're looking for, that third receiver. He just kind of that smooth, kind of like Chris Olave light kind of player. You know what I mean? Where you can't really quite put your finger on why he's good. But again, obviously that's not been the case since he's been in the NFL. But that's 1 year. It's 1 year.
1 year. Yeah. This is his second year.
Yeah.
6'1", 203 pounds, 4'5", 240.
That's what killed him. It's hard to be 6'1" and run a 4.5.
I mean, still though, he's got all the game. He's got the game. You know what I mean?
He's not a physical player. He's not going to do well against press man. You line him up in the slot, and you hope that Judy and Tillman soak up that man press. And
so, like, physically, these guys are all clones. Baker is a clone. 6'1", 202, 4'5", 240. Like 4'5", 440.
I feel like Baker is a little bit stronger, but yeah.
Baker is a physical guy. Yeah, man. That's what I think. That's why I see. I think he has upside. I don't know. It depends on what you're looking for, right? But and then Kendrick Bourne has been around, but how old is Kendrick? He's 29. He's had productive years with San Francisco and New England. Also 6'1", 205. These guys are all the same size.
I feel like Polk and Baker have more potential though.
Sure. I agree. But I'm just like looking at their roster like, dude, they're going to have to part ways with one of these guys, and they're better than what we got on the back end of the roster.
That's probably true. That's definitely true.
So those are the three teams that I've identified, and I'm still looking, but like feels like to me them, the Colts and the Packers have tough decisions to make with guys that are young and have upside. Like I care much less about bringing in a Kendrick Bourne and having him take snaps away from Jamari Thrash. That doesn't seem productive to me, right? I want to find out what Thrash is, right?
Yeah,
but
me too.
If you're going to tell me I can bring in a Javon Baker or a Polk and have him compete for that, then I'm all about it.
I agree. I would agree with that because there's something there. There's potential.
So. Same, and then if you're looking at like a Watson or a Pierce, it's just an upgrade. You're looking at a totally different kind of player than Thrash.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I don't know. So just some thoughts on that stuff on the wide receiver position. So, Fumble asking if those are all minis or any of them autographed.
They are all autographed. I have an additional wall too. I think there's over 298.
Wow.
So that wall, and then there's that wall, and then that wall in the back's gone too. So this is just my Ohio State wall. Actually, I just got this one recently. Deshaun Watson for the low price of $20.
Yo, on a discount.
There you go. That's right. That is right.
The old Watson discount.
Yeah, man. It's pretty cool. I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, come on, right? You got to snag it.
Buy the dip.
Yeah. Buy the dip. That's all that dude is dip.
Buy the dip, man. That's awesome, dude. That's crazy. So behind you is just Ohio State players with their NFL helmets, college helmets?
Yeah, those are all Ohio State college helmets. And then the bottom is some of the NFL guys, transfers. Like that's Justin Bourne, out of Michigan. That's John Cooper on Iowa State. And then that's just non-Ohio State guys, and that one's non-Ohio State guys too. So like the Deshaun Watson, who's this? Isaac Bruce. This little bag. I'm packing up. I'm moving. So some of these are packed up nicely, but yeah, or not nicely. I guess in bags. Got a Jack Youngblood.
You're moving.
Yep. Moving. Unfortunately, the lady wants to be closer to family, so we are now that we have a child. So we are moving out.
But you don't like where you're moving to, or what?
Oh, I just like my house. I just
yeah.
I like where I like where I live. But I get it. I'm not going to argue with her. That's fine. What am I going to say? Right? She's wanting to move closer to my family, so it's like
yeah,
right?
yeah. What is this chat talking so much about? What did I miss? Oh, Gil. I get it. Is that why they're talking about Gilligan's Island?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I missed that one. Oh, well, sometimes, what is this?
That's how it goes.
Idiots! Jesus Christ, dude. Man, calm down.
All right. Thank you guys for watching tonight, the OBR streaming network. Most importantly, thank you, Josh Keatley, for joining me tonight, filling in beautifully. So great to get your insight. It's been a minute. Congratulations, son. Always great to catch up with you. We got to have you back on when Casey's here.
Yeah.
We can get the whole crew together again. Yeah, for sure. So I know you're busy a lot of nights on Thursdays with Ohio State of Mind. But you guys should tune into Ohio State fans. Watch Josh on Ohio State of Mind, youtube.com/Ohio State of Mind. And you can listen to the podcast where all popular podcasts are found. It's a great show. He does a great job. As you know, his knowledge is tremendous on both the college and NFL game. And we are blessed to have him stop by here tonight and grace us on All Eyes on Cleveland, which he used to be on all the time, but we're trying to reel him back in. But no, I appreciate you, man, as always. Former Division I running back at Valparaiso, host of Ohio State of Mind podcast, Josh Keatley. Follow him on Twitter at Josh Keatley16. My name is Brad Ward. This has been another edition of All Eyes on Cleveland. Got anything to say, Josh, before we get out of here?
No, man. Yeah, definitely check into the Ohio State My podcast. We're doing a recruiting class wrap-up. So I just did a show in the 2016 Ohio State recruiting class. The week before is 2017. We're trying to keep score based on an objective ranking system to figure out which recruiting class was the best. Some of these names are pretty interesting, man. Some of these names, their blast in the past. Had a lot of fun talking about Tate Martell the other day. So that's kind of what we're doing. Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Hit like and subscribe on your way out. It only takes a second, and it helps us with the YouTube overlords and the algorithm. And we're almost to 10,000 subscribers. So if you haven't done it yet, hit that button and tell a friend. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow with things I think I know. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. For Josh Keatley, my name is Brad. We are out.